The film opens 5 years after the events of Dawn. The European drug cartel bosses meet in the French Riviera on a yacht to discuss a new threat emerging from Asia. Dawn is jeopardizing their illegal black market drug and arms trafficking ring by undercutting their prices and selling cheaper cocaine at a discounted price. Having conquered the Asian underworld, they decree to take him out. Living in seclusion somewhere in Thailand for the last 5 years, Dawn goes to a remote settlement to pick up a shipment of cocaine. He gets cornered by his own allies who reveal to him that once he is killed, the cocaine from Asia will be open for sale in Europe and they will usurp all the profits. Dawn makes his way out by killing all his allies and destroying the entire settlement. Wanted by the Interpol and hunted by his rivals, Dawn returns to Kuala Lumpur, unexpectedly surrendering to Roma, who has joined Interpol, and Inspector Malik, who is about to retire but is forced to postpone his retirement when Dawn shows up. In the interrogation room, Dawn demands full amnesty for his crimes in exchange for providing the law enforcement contact information about his business associates, suppliers and drug lords. Malik states that he can only save Dawn from the death penalty, refusing to lighten Dawn's prison sentence. After refusing to cooperate, Dawn is sentenced to death and sent to languish in a Malaysian prison, where he encounters his antagonistic, bellicosity adversarial arch-nemesis Vardhan, who tries to extract revenge from Dawn for having him imprisoned 5 years back. Although initially hostile towards Dawn by clashing and locking horns with him at daggers drawn, both verbally and physically, Vardhan begrudgingly puts his differences aside with Dawn when Dawn offers him an opportunity to escape. Forced to form a shaky and uneasy alliance, they eventually decide to work together and become unwitting frenemy allies. Together, Dawn and Vardhan eventually break out of jail and manage to escape from the prison in paramedic uniforms by poisoning the other inmates. In Zurich, Dawn meets trusted companion Aisha and they retrieve a tape from a secret locker whose key was under Vardhan's possession. The tape contains security camera footage that shows J.K. Dewan, vice president of the Europrinting DZB, Deutsche Zentralbank, bribing Singhania to murder James Worden in a car accident perpetrated by Kohl, the original choice for the president of the DZB, so that Dewan's superior, Fabian Kohl, would become the new president. Dewan was sent to bribe Singhania, Rajesh Khattar, to kill James Werner, the German most likely to be made new president, so that Kohl, his rival, could assume that position instead. Dewan was the conduit between Kohl and Singhania. Singhania recorded and taped the meeting between him and Dewan through a CCTV surveillance security camera, and that tape containing the incriminating CCTV surveillance footage is now in Dawn's possession. Singhania was killed by Vardhan 5 years earlier. Dawn blackmails Dewan into giving him the bank's blueprints so he can steal the printing plates from the bank's vaults. Dewan stalls and instead gives Dawn fake blueprints. Dewan hires Abdul Jabbar, Nawab Shah, a deadly assassin. However, Dawn escapes by cornering Jabbar and then bribes and coerces Jabbar to work for him instead. With no other choice, Dewan gives him the original blueprints of the bank's vaults. As they finalize and go over their heist plan, Vardhan dissuades Dawn from including Jabbar in their bank heist plot, even warning Dawn that Jabbar was hired to kill him. Dawn plans to sacrifice Jabbar and his goons while escaping from the bank vault. Still not over his enmity with Dawn, Vardhan secretly informs Jabbar about this. They plan to turn against Dawn and gang up on him once he steals the plates. Roma and Inspector Malik arrive in Berlin and unsuccessfully interrogate Dewan, after having found incriminating evidence of him being involved with Dawn in some illegal activity, while Dawn assembles his team and creates a hostage situation, committing a bank heist. After stealing the printing plates, Dawn is betrayed by Vardhan and Jabbar but escapes. Another team member, the hacker Samir, Kunal Kapoor, helps Dawn escape from the building through its underground sewer system water pipes via the basement. But shortly Samir has a conscious guilt trip pang and he calls the police on Dawn and Dawn is arrested. With a few tricks up his sleeve, Dawn blackmails Dewan into giving him German immunity in exchange for erasing the incriminating evidence of him being involved in plotting the murder of James Werner. Don subsequently negotiates with the German police and Interpol over surrendering the plates, which are with Vardhan, who is still in the vault with Jabbar and holds 25 employees hostage, and a disc containing details of the European underworld in exchange for the safety of the hostages and defusing the time bombs in the bank as well as German immunity. With no other option, the police are forced to work with Don to rescue the hostages and deactivate the explosives in exchange for providing Don amnesty for his crimes. As they make their way back to the vault, Don convinces Roma that he has had a change of heart and is looking for a fresh start after giving up the life of crime. He says this is why he is parting with all the information and wants to help the police in saving lives. Don and Roma confront Vardhan and Jabbar after bloody hand-to-hand combat with his henchmen thugs and find themselves in a four-way standoff. After disarming Don and Roma of their handguns and grenades, Roma is held at gunpoint by Jabbar. Vardhan coerces Roma to blow Don's brains out. Following a deadly countdown, Roma is consequently shot in the abdomen by Jabbar after she hesitates and refrains from killing Don, revealing she still secretly harbors romantic feelings for him, even though he killed her brother and his fiancée 5 years earlier, and she also refused to kill him because she does not want to do it illegally. Enraged, Don brutally attacks and beats the tar out of his foes after detonating the remaining bombs, which catch the goons off guard. After killing the remaining henchmen in a brutal knockdown, drag-out fist fight beatdown, Don defeats Vardhan with a sweeping kick that knocks him out and fatally breaks Jabbar's neck. Afterwards, Don obtains his immunity papers from Malik in exchange for the hostages and surrenders the plates and the disc, as per the bargain. Don brings Roma to an ambulance and they exchange glances before the doors close. When the police later investigates the evidence, they are shocked to discover Diwan and Cole were behind Warden's murder. Don later detonates a bomb he had planted earlier in the trunk of Diwan's car, killing Diwan and seemingly obliterating the printing plates in the explosion. Unbeknownst to the German police, SEK SWAT team, the Interpol and Vardhan's entourage, Don had swapped the plates. He hid the real ones in a parcel stacked on the shelf at an old stockroom and left fake ones in the bag that he handed over to the police. It is the perfect crime as the police thinks that the real plates have been destroyed. Don mails the parcel containing the real plate to Samir's apartment. In a final scene, it is revealed Don still has at least one of the real currency plates, which the police believe was destroyed in the explosion. Samir was actually loyal to Don, informing the police was part of the plan. The disc Don turned over actually contains the names of the European drug cartel. Vardhan is re-imprisoned. Having been exposed, Fabian Cole and Jimmy Coogan are imprisoned as well, and the DZB is forced to replace them. After Cole, Coogan and Vardhan are jailed, Don regroups with Aisha and Samir on a bridge to celebrate their victory. With Diwan, Warden and Jabbar deceased while Vardhan, Cole and Coogan, along with the European criminals languishing behind bars, the film ends with Don becoming the king of the European underworld, walking away a free, filthy rich man. Don tells Aisha and Samir they have no idea how filthy rich they will become.